What's wrong with vinyl, not having vinyl? Well, I've talked to musicians across the world, even. My music structure was always foundational. It was records, vinyl. The first 78 came out, the first 40, 33 and a third, I think it was about 1949. And you could put a lot of tracks on it. I got vinyl that's new, and it's 10-inch plate, beautiful quality sound. Oh, it's gorgeous. You get a good cartridge, good turntable. We've lost our way with digital music. We came out with Napster, and it was a free service, and it was sucking musicians dry in North America. We're limited and controlled by the creative sector of what we play in music, because these corporations like Zuckerberg's uh, system, vinyl. Like, look at the time signatures. We can't even change them. You know, they got to have 4/4, and they got to have a attached to the algorithm that is going to push the junk out there, and that's all they're producing, junk, junk music. So vinyl is that's what I'm thinking. I'll go to the printer. I listen to Steve Roth. He's in Arizona. He's a great sound man. I mean, soundster. He makes a lot of ambient music, beautiful stuff, using synths, but he's using analog. You know, they're expensive, but I like analog better. We got rid of Sound Studio. Remember that in LA? All these bands played in there, and it was. But we got into we progressed. We didn't like splicing tape; it was hard. But we have 52 track 2-inch tape. You could saturate the tracks and amp it up, and it had a lot of tone quality. There's a lot of nuances in music recording and technology lacking. It's like sterile butter, the whole industry. It needs vinyl foundation because the musicians aren't making money at Spotify. It's hard to get your algorithms right. If it's progressive, it won't come through. I was just thinking, all my music over the years since I've been born in '55, I heard a lot of transitions in music. And I mean it. There was a lot of American Canada music was transitioning from blues to rock and roll to country rock and stuff. What happened? And British music, it was transitioning like really, really like Pet Sounds by Beach Boys. It was a surf band, but they started experimenting in the studio. The picture tells the story, and it's the cover. And another thing is, I know you got all the music at you, variety. I go into bars and guys are listening to junk, and I said, "Listen to this album. I like that." So they write it down on their phone. Younger guys. They don't know this stuff was out there, or it's new progressive music from original foundations, and that's where music's getting lost. They don't know these genres. They get wiped out like blues and rock and country, and they're there. They're hidden in the pile of the junk that they're throwing out, which is hip hop and rubbish. I think it's rubbish. And I've talked to musicians, and the recording technique's garbage. Because you're recording it for small phones and devices, right? And the bit rate's small. Vinyl's a very high bit rate. And I hope you can hear me. But it's not working, the whole system. And I can remember we were using 4-track. That was pretty good. When we started adding more tracks to the tape, it degraded. So, what do I think now? I like certain DAW systems, but I wouldn't use just DAW. I'd record them to tape for maybe guitar tracks or different tracks and instruments. Everything's so expensive now, but Moogs are still around, Fairlights. The digital are all right, but if you compare them side by side audibly, that stuff's good. They've improved that Moog. It's out in Quebec. There's a company out there. But out in Prince Edward Island, they're pressing records. This guy here making a fortune on records. But look at the price he's selling them at, $54 a vinyl. And it's like Spotify, Netflix. We have Blockbusters, all these DVDs. Why don't we go back to Blu-ray? Storage problems? I don't think so. Records are collectible and they can be stacked and stored. I got 400 here. My niece stole my turntables and my hi-fi, so I'm moving to another province where I can start again. Trying to clean up the act and get my guitar fixed. Can't get anything done here. It's overpriced. But that's another story. A lot of the musicians have moved to the east. And now we can record in small studios. It doesn't take a lot. But the bit rate's got to come up for repressing on vinyl. But our technology's improved in some ways. But we got to have a lot of data on that on vinyl pressing. You get one vinyl pressing out, and we get these record shops and boutiques back. We're going to produce good. We're going to have a change in music. Australia went up with the COVID lockdown in Melbourne to 7.8% vinyl sales. Now, you get a cheap turntable, a cheap cartridge, you're going to have garbage music. You got to have good pressing. You got to spend the money on a turntable. I've been on my Pocket account. I've been following new turntables coming out. They're all Bluetooth, so they go into a good system and go into your headphones. Bluetooth with good cartridge and good tone arm. They're coming out. They're about $600-700 for the turntable with a good Ortofon. Ortofon's a good magnetic cartridge. The problem with moving coils is nice, but the stylus isn't replaceable. So it's you got to buy a whole new system. They've made the moving coil cartridges better. Like, I like Ortofon. They're expensive, but I bought one from on eBay from Germany. A lot cheaper. It was Ortofon Blue, and she threw it at. I had a Ortofon. I had Luxman, really nice Luxman turntable, direct drive. No, it was a good turntable. She's got rid of them. My hi-fi, everything, thousands of dollars gone. Yeah, it's starting to rug me to think about it. So I got to start all over again. But she did return the records. There's 400 there, good quality vinyl, and I had a good tape deck. She was on a Nakamichi, one of the older ones, but she was metal tape. I was recording stuff off of radio, 1990s when I was married, and it's good sound. It was Murray McLaughlin in the Glen Gould Studios in Toronto, about 1993. Swinging on a Star. I love that show. Get up every morning with my wife and I and listen to it. All the great Canadian music, folk music and maritime music is really good. And Murray promoted it, and they had one part of that tape I had Joni Mitchell talking about trauma of her life. Wonderful stuff, man. What would we have in her record companies? True North Records. Bruce Coburn. We need good vinyl for jazz recordings. Everything. We need to bring back jazz and blues and folk, Canadian folk music. It's not coming in with this sector. It's not. It's sort of screwed down. There is good music, but out west, he's keeping it alive. Ian Tyson, Luke Cobbs, but I had some vinyl there. I really liked. I like. I have one album. It's on on my stream system. But I got it in vinyl. It's Ian Tamblyn. This was very, very Canadian, and it had a lot of ambience and acoustic guitar, and really nice stuff. And a friend of mine that's in the music industry up in the Yukon, Sarah Emmer McDougall, sold me a piece of vinyl that she has. She started selling vinyl. I think we gotta go back to vinyl. So I'd like to have a record shop. He's making a fortune over there in town. But he bought a place and he's got it going. He was going under, and then COVID relief funds, he's going like, people want vinyl. So he's doing good in Collingwood, but I can't live here. I can't do good. I gotta move. But I'm just thinking, where's the source of the vinyl records being produced? Prince Edward Island. Smaller communities. It's building a good healthcare system. East Coast Music Association's out there. Not here. They've all went east. But Nova Scotia got an influx of a lot of Americans to get away from Trump. A lot of people went out to Nova Scotia to record and set up studios and doing really good music. But I like the hub of Prince Edward Island. We have venues. There's a lot of tourism comes there from people love music. Classical music I like. It doesn't sound very good on Bluetooth. It doesn't sound good on cheap stereos. It sounds better on good quality speakers. And we're building good speakers. We got to start manufacturing better. And Crown, we were using the concerts and stuff. They're making really good. And Marantz and Cerwin Vega. I like those speakers. And but I always liked Klipschorn. They're a great big speaker. I used to go in this vinyl shop. It was like a boutique. They had a pinball machine in the back in Barrie, Ontario. I go down there every night on my motorcycle pickup, or my car, pick up about 5 hours. Play a bit of pinball, not video games, but pinball. And he had music streaming in through Bose speakers, those big Bose, the bigger. And he had vinyl in there, and he says, "Hey man, I got to tune you in some music." I wouldn't have heard it. It was Tracy Chapman's Fast Car. Ah, I listened to it. I buy vinyl listening to it. I put this on the platter. Yeah, this is a flavor. That's the way a good small boutique record shop should be. Place that you can go and take your time. Sam the Record Man was great in Toronto. That was wonderful. Missed that store. It was great. 2 floors. Upstairs is all classical. I bought a lot of vinyl there. I love collecting. So I started buying records. Were terrible in the 80s. We started coming out with pressings that were paint They didn't put paint into the record itself, and it was on top, and the sound quality was terrible. So we had picture art vinyl, really nice stuff. I got one piece of vinyl going back to 1970. It's See-Through, True North Records, Bruce Coper, Night Moves, beautiful album, good quality. Now the problem with vinyl is it costs money. You got to buy maybe a record cleaning system, but that's worth the money. If you got old vinyl and you go in and collect it, oh. And I go in there and hey, you got Dave Brubeck. Young musicians are listening to that stuff, younger artists. But we used to have, put on tape and record it, or you can do things with vinyl. You can put it on, get a reel to reel, or I like reel to reel, they'll come back. We used to run hours of it, but cassette was all right. It just didn't. My cassette deck was expensive. It was a Nakamichi, Japanese, beautiful term. These metal tape and chromium dioxide. It's hard to get them, huh? But if we start progressing and getting back to the foundation, I'm not going to tell you to get rid of stream music. Have this as the foundation, like we should have gold. Don't you think, for money? God's gold? Just buying. So I'm senior. I want to buy more instruments. I love playing music. Get a Nord piano for a stage setup. I want to get into better looping systems, and I'm learning looping. So I'm not against the pedals, but I was using Bosch pedals. They're all right. The OM1 got a nice drive to them. But I started liking the older pedals that are manufactured by Electro-Harmonix. I love that stuff. And I like sort of a blues drive. And Keck. Some of those amps are coming out, modeling amps like Roland Blues Cube. It's not bad. I haven't played one, but I'd like to try it. It's the speaker configuration that's important, and if it's modeling. Now I'm getting into tech, but I do like analog. I love the old bell-tubed Fender amps. So I was in a bar there one night. I said, "Oh my God, it's like new." It was a '63 Fender blues amp, blues basement. Yeah, the little cabinet. It was cooking really good. It was like new. I said, "Where the hell did you get it?" Out of a stairwell. Oh, it's white. It's white. Gorgeous. I love those. The L's tubes were just so warm. Fender made some good amps. Marshall, I don't know. I like the sound of Fender. They just always like Fender. And the Fender Bassman, the Fender, the Tweeds are nice, But we made Mesa Boogie, and they're good amp. But everything's heavy. So I got a orange. I like that. It's sort of hybrid. But she threw out the cabinet. But I'd like to get an orange. They're really nice amp. But I got to try them out. I play a lot. And I want to get Fender and a Gibson SG. I like a nice blues guitar. Jazz box too, So I'm looking at guitars to buy, new guitars. I got a Fender USA Telly. And he popped out and showed. I said, "What are you, a friggin' dentist? That's an Paul Reed Smith." The beautiful guitar. But the inlay and everything, they're gorgeous. They got Seymour Duncan's in. Good tick up for an electric guitar. Clapton was using a Seymour Duncan to get that womanly tone. Beautiful sound, eh? I think he took a Mexican Strat and just put Seymour Duncan thing. Nice sound. But Fender was making nice guitars. I had a CBS Fender bass. It was a jazz bass. I liked jazz bass, but I sold it for $220 to get some booze. I was drinking heavy. Stupid guy. Saw it sell for $5,000. He says it's CBS. Nobody buys those. Oh, hell, he knew that. You got to watch when you're trading guitars. You got to watch it. He traded Alaskan, Great Alaskan, $250. 250,000 he sold it for. Oh, he's a blues artist. He's one of the top in Canada. He's been on that 6-string Silverton. I got that on cloud bass on my Apple Music. I bought it. It's 4 albums. It's got Don Ross. Who else? There's some great guitar players on there, all fingerstyle. The guy I met was on that, and he was Rick Taylor. If you're on here, Rick, you know me. We had a good talk one day after I was going for divorce. He said, "Down your hat, man. We'll talk guitar." I'm a fingerstyle acoustic and an electric player. But we were arguing about cars. I got a Larrabee, but she's cracked on the top because of the climate here. So I got to get it fixed or get a new one. I play it, but it's not what I want to play on stage. So I've been thinking of getting another guitar built. And I like Larrabee because of the wide neck. I'm talking gear here. But here we get into arguments. This guy went to Nashville. He got mad at me. He uses D'Arios. We're always arguing which guitar strings. I use Elixirs. I just got used to them. And they feel slinky, they got a nice feel. I like heavy gauge. Oh, that's heavy. Yeah, he was using heavy on his acoustics. I couldn't use that on the Larrabee. He had 13s on the bottom. Too heavy for that, and I cracked the top. She'd only take a 12. Larrabee's bracing was weak in a WEM model. But great night. Wow. There's some good guitar builders. Santa Cruz, Loudon. But one guitar I really like? The old Robert Johnson L triple O. Beautiful. And they're making them again. I saw a guy down in Virginia, making it with that's a mahogany. This guitar was not 12th fret, and it was 12th fret in Toronto. It was rosewood. I like rosewood. I played a really nice old Hummingbird. It hasn't got the tone. She's using cedar. I don't like cedar. She's just too bright. But she's a nice guitar to play. That was really a signature model, that Hummingbird Gibson. Oh, it's nice. It's sort of a mid-range guitar. Now I'm going to talk about recordings. You're recording acoustic. I think you're better to use a microphone. And condenser mics are a shotgun condenser. And place them around the studio a bit and get a good sound room. Record them. I got an Anthem. They're all right for stage. And the one I got has got an Anthem by L.R. Bragg. It sounds nice, but it needs this heavy DI box, to get the sound out. And the sound tech could never get it right. So you end up using a microphone. I'd rather record. It's hard to, or get an acoustic electric. And Rick was using a Morgan, and he was using a National Steel. I love National Steel. Coburn uses National Steel. Bruce Coburn, I love his stuff. Oh. He's got one album, Words of Hope. It's one really great recording album. And Star Will Dance, all that great stuff. When I was in Ottawa in the 1970s, I was listening to Coburn. He was living up there, Bruce. And my girlfriend had all his albums on a reel to reel. We just listened to it for hours. And we were really into this Bruce Coburn stuff. So what influence did that do to Canadian music? Well, Gene Larrabee saw this, and he was in Toronto, and he started a little factory, manufacturing. He liked the sound of open string guitars, open fingerstyle. And then Grit up there in Toronto, he's making beautiful guitars. We got Grit Larkin. Yeah, William. He's got a shop up there. So I had a guy come in from, he wanted to come to Canada. We got good guitar builders. We got a group of 7 here. Linda up there in Alberta makes them. See, Larrabee was making them out of Sitka spruce off of Prince Charlotte Islands. Beautiful wood. His son goes up into Prince Charlotte Islands and falls one tree. The problem with Martin was there's a moratorium on spruce tops, like the Acco. The spruce had to fall down. So I read Clapton's guitar when this guy built a Captain. He used that Adirondack spruce. Find that damn stuff was hard. He says, I got it. So this guy was going around and he's collecting it. All in Adirondack spruce. He goes in there. Wow, that's the mother lode. Look at this wood, and it's soft, pressed and cut. I love this. Beautiful spruce tops. Martin is a nice guitar. But I know guys that own Martins, and I know guys that own Larrabees, and they say, I don't know, it's pretty close. I'm not going to run down Martin. Martin was a good guitar company. But we got Loudon. Gene Larrabee's he moved that damn factory down from, he had OM models, OM3s, built up in Victoria. That's where mine was built, Victoria, BC. But he moved the manufacturing down to California because of the climate. Now him and his wife started doing this inlay. Oh, it's gorgeous. What I like about the Larrabee is a wide neck. He looked at a fingerstyle guitar as having a wide neck. And I do like the feel of the Larrabee. They have a nice playing action. But my top's cracked, and it's this climate here. I can't live in Ontario and play guitar. Maritimes, I might get flooded out, but I'll have a nicer place. And a lot of people being leaving Ontario by the truckload. And its music industry is in the East, unfortunately. No, I don't know if it's unfortunate. It's the progression of recording studios. And Sarah McDougall recorded in the Yukon. And she had a nice little place up there in Yellowknife above a store. She just, stores are good for a musician because you can play at night and you don't have neighbors bothering you. And I got this Larrabee here. I've taken her across Canada, but she's got cracked top here. And I don't know if she's up to pitch. It was a good guitar, but the top's cracked. There's a lot of work they've done on it. But it feels so nice. Oh, that's a cup. But it's a great guitar. But it's a great guitar to play. The strings are very old on it. I haven't put strings on it for about. My nails need clipping. But I've been playing a lot of piano. And I got that's the only guitars I have now. That's all I need. I need two guitars that are. I went to electric. Before that, I got a 12 fret. These are professional guitars. They're not junk. And that one was expensive. It kept on going up in price. But Keith Richards is going exactly the same. And the finance minister for Harper wanted to buy it off me. I kept it. I was going to sell it. Yeah, I didn't. It needs a new neck on it. She's a little bit wonky. But that's what I like about her Fenders, though. They're putting a new neck on it. But pants are falling down. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Yeah, guitar racks. That's what I want. I want racks and more guitars. So to do things, I'm going to start a business of. There she is. She's a. I don't know if I got her plugged in, but she's a old. She's about a '97 Fender Telecaster, but the paint's different. She's if you can see it, I don't know, but the neck needs replaced. She's a bit wonky. I just got to get a good neck on it. And she'll play nice, but I like heavier action. And it's just the action's low here. And she's not popping up. It's not even pressed fretboard. I've tried to bring it back, and I think it's out. But you know what the heck? Fender just popped a new neck on there. But oh God, those necks are standard neck here is $700 for a Fender. But if I did anything, I'd probably pop in some new pickups. They're not much. Pickups aren't much. And I'd buy these. I love Electro-Harmonic. They're great. That's a memory toy. We used to have Big Muff in 1970s. These pedals had fur on them. It was crazy. We were buying all these crazy pedals. But some of it was just garbage. And then I think Boss started producing good pedals. And I'm studying a course online from Australia on guitar pedals and boards. And I saw Fleetwood Mac's concert. What was he using? Lindsey Buckingham on Rumors Tour was. I couldn't believe it. He had it mic'd. He had a cranked up Fender Champ, one of those old ones, sitting on a chair, pumping out for the studio. And he had a really good Les Paul. And he was hunking in with his fingers. He was a great guitarist. And it was Lindsey Buckingham with Stevie Nicks, Mick Fleetwood, and Fleetwood Mac. Beautiful concert. But he was playing, that guitar just simmered through that Louis Fender Champ. Because he was driving the power section up. So you see guys now, they're getting into the old tube dance. And it's the power section. And they drive it way up and they put in another room. It's nuts. You hear Stevie Ray Vaughan? Listen to a lot of 60 cycle hum on that damn thing. In the studio, he's got that thing cranked right up. So Stevie had a guy on that Strat It's a guitar tech. He used really heavy strings. And I liked his sound. It was just so much chunk to it. Blues players always have heavy strings. We used to have the black diamonds when I was starting to play. That's all there was, black diamond strings. So we mixed them up. Then all these string companies came out. So I try to talk to these young guys. What about open tunings? Tuner to G. Don't know how to do that. Rycooter sound? Jumpin' Jack Flash? Honky Tonk Woman? It's all in G. Open tuning. And bottleneck guitar? We use about two tunings. G and E minor and G. And that guitar would be a good bottleneck guitar. I like it. It's great for that blues. Because I play rock and blues. And I play piano. So I'm talking to Shane down there in Australia. He's a blues player, but he never learned to play right. His guitar teacher didn't make him to a right-handed Shane. You got a limit on lefties. I got a good selection of guitars I can look for. But I do like Fender and I like Gibson. There's about 3 Slayers. I like, I love the Rickenbacker, but they're so hard to order. The old 12-string electrics, they're great. And the Gretsch, nice guitars. Country Gentlemen they were good guitars, but these manufacturers I like what they're producing. Their Canadian guitar in Quebec called Gowden. I haven't played them, but I hear some of the guys are playing these Seagulls and stuff. And they don't sound too bad. They're cheaper, but there's one guitar I really like for a jazz box, and it's a Gowden Montreal. Beautiful slip. I always liked the big bodied guitars. I always liked them. My guitar teacher when I was a kid, had one of those big old Gibsons jazz boxes. They're beautiful. And the sound was so warm. And jazz, but Bill Frisell uses sort of a Fender Tele sound. He's a great jazz guitarist. Bill Frisell, I love his music. He's playing with Nora Jones. And he's a great guitarist. So you hear these guys putting out jazz on Telecasters. These were just made for blue country. Turn the tone pots down, change them. You can make them anything. ZZ Top was using Tele sort of a foundation, having custom built. And they were cutting out their heavy stuff, so they started channeling them. But they're good guitars. Sheila Crow plays Tele. And Telecasters got just sort of a. I'll tell you something. I've talked to a lot of guitar players. Did you start on a Tele on electric? Yeah. That changes your playing. Yeah, it does. It gets you into this. It's a different animal. Like you listen to some of that Susie Q and stuff, and it really is country picking. But you can play a lot of stuff like Chuck Berry and stuff and turn up the gain on these, and they're nasty suckers. There's nasty as hell because if you get a good winded pickup in them. I like a Tele, but that's all Fenders. Players models they're making now, I really like them. Customs, I don't know. You don't want a too expensive guitar, but you want a good neck, and you just got to try a lot. But I do like a U.S. standard guitars. They got more value. And I like the, what was it? Chuck Berry's playing 335, 334, 33. They were good guitars. They're semi-hollow, so they're going to get a bit of feedback. But acoustics get feedback. That's how you play them. But Strats and Les Paul, they were the foundation of guitar music. Think of all the guitars that we've ever made that are solo body. They're all formulated on Les Paul, Telecaster, and Stratocaster. They're just good guitars. They're just workman's guitars of Tele. Why do they call them a workman's guitar? Well, the bars, Hank Williams Sr. used to go, he didn't assault a lady, and he smashed another Martin. He smashed his friggin' Martin over the guy's head. And, oh, there it goes. You smash your hand, that guy goes down if you hit him with this. And then you just maybe go a little bit, keep playing. Country bar fight. They were the workman's guitar back those days. And like Johnny Cash, you listen to all those tracks. He didn't have a bass player. He had a guy doing 1-5, 1-5, 1-5 on a Tele. Who else? You had 52 Telecaster. That was from Texas. That was Roy Buchanan. He was in a country church there. His daddy was an evangelist minister. He was doing this 1-5 bass playing on the Telecaster. But he started getting into blues, and boy, he went wild. And he left home and he went on the road and started producing some really good guitar playing. Telemaster, I call him. And it's just the foundations of music. So guitars haven't changed much. So we got into synths and stuff, but they haven't really changed. They're just moving coil pickups. These were wound or 60 cycle hum. And they do hum. It depends on how you use them. Take your hand off the strings, she'll hum. But 60 cycle, you can filter it out. These are a bit more quieter than the old pickups. But the old 52 Teles had a real nice pickup. So they're worth a fortune, a 52. They're the original year that Fender produced the first production with a bridge pickup, a neck pickup here. It was 52 because he was going for the no-caster. He was fighting with copyright laws. What is it? He came out with these names, and they weren't fitting it. And he only had a no-caster, just this pickup here. Couldn't be built better. It's just a single coil. And look at the way it's faced. So you're getting the higher tones up here near the neck. You're getting this up here. So he was taking off a Spanish pedal guitar that he was producing on his record, his store in. It was a radio shop, and Leo didn't really know much about guitars. But he made these black guitars. And he thought he'd take that pickup and put her on there. He went to the first NAMM show, and I said, "What is that, Leo? A piano, a pedal, a paddle?" She's pretty plain, but she got a nice sound to her, and it was just a good standard guitar. So in 57, or was it 58, it came up with Stratocaster. She had a lot of curves. It was designed really well to fit your body. And 3 pickups. So you can vary the tone, the variations of in. You know it. I'm not very good with it. I'm not a Strat. I'd like to get a Stratocaster. I really would, but I want a good one. professional model because I've played for 60 years I've been playing guitar. And I can remember great guitar players in Canada and some of the great music like from the East Coast. And that was some really good stuff. He died in a plane accident, fire on the tarmac, and that was Stan Rogers. Wonderful guitarist. That stuff is gorgeous. He's playing acoustic style, and Gordon Lightfoot, he's a great guitarist. Ian Tyson. And they made a model of the Ians. Those are really nice, and they're not too bad a price. And they're cheaper than these, the Larrabee, but I've never played it. There's so many variants, but he says you should get a custom build. Well, we got 5 builders, group of 7, and custom builders. But the guitar I really wanted to get, because I play bottleneck blues, I wanted a solid body National Steel. What do they call them? Electros. And they're nice. They're about $49,100. But they got P90 in them, and they got a Piaggio in the cone. And then you can mic it through it. You got the acoustics on it. You get a lot of mixes out of it. So I really like that. And I was reading this stuff. This is where I learned a lot of music. It was Stan Grossman. Delta. I really got into playing a lot of these turnarounds and blues flicks. And it really improves your guitar playing to learn Stephen Grossman played Mississippi Blues. And these were all from the Delta. So I started playing harmonica. I like harmonica. So what do I play there? I've gone into Horner crossovers. They're beautiful. They just play right. I know another guy. He's plays custom builds and he gets the too much to talk about here. Music, when you get into pianos and guitars, it's getting crazy. And but it was he's living up here in Godrich. He's the best harmonica player I think in the world. Carlos Del Junco. And I bought a few albums off him. You look him up. He's a great guitar harmonica player. I was talking to the bass player in the guitar shop, and I said, Carlos ended that concert with Little Wings on Him. What? That's gorgeous. And I said to Carlos, I said, you're harmonica playing. You're playing perfect pitch bends chromatically on a diatonic harmonicas. How do you do that? Talk to him. He says, practice, man. Practice. And theory. He was playing harmonica in Cuba since 14. His sound is so rich. He's got like a horn sound. It's gorgeous. I started listening to some of these harmonica players. But he's sort of officiality. He runs down Neil Young and Bob Dylan. It's just different sound. No, it isn't as fancy as Carlos, but I met another harmonica player. He says, we got him beat, the two of us. I'm not that good, but I'm getting better. But it's good to combine harmonica and bass and guitar and piano and organ. And that's what I want to do. I want to set up a system. I'm playing a lot of this old blues and stuff. I got into Johnson. I got into Lightning Sam Hawkins. And some more of my own. So I was playing with Lighthouse up there. And they taught me a lot about keyboard playing. And it's to change the rhythmic elements. Don't do a rendition. Well, Led Zeppelin did renditions of Robert Johnson. So Clapton. Renditions aren't covers. Cover is good to learn. There's practice, but it's not. It's just copy band, and doesn't really going to get you in the music industry. And that's where music needs to progress. We need to change the rhythmic elements. We got the technology, but we should get back to some foundation. Even CDs, good quality CDs. And I have a CD in there. It was recorded in Ontario. It was in the University of Toronto. He was a music composer. And he was using sampling tracks. And he did a musicology of his grandfather, who went through the days of progress in the farming industry. Adam Sandler. Yeah, it was talking. And he said, Granddad, you got a voice that's in, I hear the pitch. It's F sharp. So he took that sound of that frequency of F sharp and he put music around it, and he took pop-up toasters. He was a synthesizer modulates sound, different frequencies. Samplers modulate noise. And he took a lot of sounds, pop-up toasters, all these instruments, all these sounds, and modulated it into a sampler. And he recorded some beautiful stuff. I got it here. It's a CBC record things. And that's progressive. That's experimenting with sound and really coming up with really good stuff. And I can remember I got some vinyl I really loved. And it was so progressive. And everybody said, that must be Beatles recording again. It's Klaatu. We forget these albums. Klaatu. God, that stuff was good. Music was progressive. So when I used to go on road tours in the 90s, we were listening to some Canadian bands like the Rheostatics. Oh, God, they were good. And then they broke up, and they formulated, I had to talk to Katie Millick, and they came back and they formulated their own bands, and they made some records, but I think they're back together. But they're really painting Canada's picture and really making Canada a palette like the Group of Seven did. There is a sound in Canada, and it's lost in the. I think it's Americana music's coming out. We got to get this back. I talked to a Quebec recording artist. He says we got to get back to telling stories about Canada. Right, Gordie Downey. I'm not going to put him down, man. He united Canada. He united Canada. He told a story, and when he was dying on stage, people were crying tragically. I don't put him down. I remember Max Webster when they came out. And I looked at the amps, and they were using Ampeg, really good amps. But he had a lot of gear. Ampeg was making good amps, and I remember going down to Toronto, and we were using his name was Trainer. Made the Trainer amps. But where did he make it? In where the original Long McQuaid's was on the end of Yorkville. And he was building amps in there, and he moved up to Oshawa. These old amps were like, they didn't have good rectifiers, they're 70s, but they're the Trainer basement, and I think he's starting to remake them. But they're sort of along the line of the Fender. But all the bands I knew were playing black-faced twin reverbs and stuff. They're enough for most gigs. But then we were coming out, and I had a Hiwa. Oh, that's a lot of power. Heavy as hell. Hiwas are nice amps. They were in British amp. The Who made. You can still get them. I don't think I want to break my back. So this guy's playing a Hammond B3. I said, "Are you crazy?" He says, "Why? You must have a good back. How old are you?" I'm 75. I like a real thing. It's heavy. Well, you got a pickup. Yeah, you got a flat truck out there. Wheel that damn Leslie in. You know, Hammond's making a condensed organ. That's not too bad a price, and it's got that organ sound. I had to get one of them. I like the organ, but a Leslie cabinet. No, just get a Leslie pedal, and you'll get that sound. It doesn't cost that much. Leslie cabinet, they're heavy. Everything's so heavy now, and we can make it so light. And I started seeing venues, and we just plug into the board. You know, you might mic an amp. You want something light. I said to him, I said, "What the hell are you hauling in there?" "Oh, she's got 16 preamp tubes." "You got a broken back, man." Another band comes in there and they just plug into the board. Everything's getting crazy. I think there's so much information in the music technology and everything that it's not getting out there. And it'd be nice to get back to some foundation. Moog, I'd like to get a Moog. I love the sound of playing with. But now we got the Nords. They're great. I'd like to get a Grand Nord and some of these other ones. And Roland's got some good amps, good pianos. No, and they got a Fairlight in them. You know, and a lot of Coburn was playing with a what do you call it? Not Fairlight. You put your hand over it. I can't think of the name. See, that's brain fart. But it sounded good just in the background over the guitar tracks. Some beautiful stuff, very ambient. And I think that's where we have to go. We gotta start getting back to what we had. And I hear guitar players saying that's a 4/4 time. That's what they require. So our music's controlled. But when we get into vinyl, we can change the elements. I remember Stan Getz, what rhythm is that? Ba, 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 ba. 8/16, beautiful stuff. There's so many variances in music. So a guitar player has to get a clean sound and clear sound and work on that, and then start adding a bit of pedal. But that's got a lot of variances, that little pedal there. And you just gotta build a board and really discern. And these pedals aren't cheap when you buy them individually, but you can put them in modulations. And you just put them together. I'm going to get a board and build a system. But everything's a little different. So you learn. I see Sarah coming into Toronto. She had sniffles and getting in on her SUV and not feeling very well. But girl's best friend, she's a guitar player, is one of these. So I bought a pedal. They always make you feel good, man. Buy a pedal. Oh, you buy another? Yeah, let's buy. But I haven't any money to buy them. But I can buy them. I'll buy them out east. I like them. I don't like here. It's too expensive. I can't get guitar fixed. It's the house flippers. And the millennials going after Trudeau. And I loved Murray McLaughlin in the 90s. Swinging on a Star was great. A lot of the Rankin family, the Bear McNeils, East Coast, and Dutch Mason out there. Oh God, he's good. I was playing with him on the train coming back. He's coming back to Cape Breton. One of the guitar players. Who do you love? Dutch and the boys in Inglewood, out in These are good music and Great Big Sea. So going towards Quebec, there's some good guitar shops, and I'm gonna start exploring a new guitar system and start buying some good gear. As I'm getting older, I want to build money, and I got into life coaching. That's a big business if you're certified, and I'm tailoring it to a niche, and I'm going to start using other forms. Now, there's a young man here, and he wants me to text him, and he's right. Don't listen to your parents all the time. This poor attitude is the story cut. I got a poor attitude, and I'm trying to cut it. And I've been listening to things. I got to buy gear, and I want to study at Berkeley, and it's going to cost money to get down there. But I got what I need in education. Basically, I'm going to keep learning and work on horse therapy and animal therapy and communication. All I need is a nice little quiet place with a bathtub. Set it up and put some pebbles together. Start buying and build a studio and a house. And away from all the noise. The traffic here is terrible. It's terrible. They're crazy people. They're crazy in Ontario. They're nuts. Goodbye, pork pie.